Hello, everyone. Welcome once again. In this video, I'm going to show you how to construct a dummy variable and how to estimate a regression model for your group assignment. So first of all, I will share the group assignment document, explain the model that you need to estimate, and then I will share an Excel spreadsheet and show you hands-on how to estimate a regression model. So first of all, your group assignment document. So risk exposure of Australian financial institutions and empirical analysis is the title of your group assignment. And you need to estimate a couple of models in this assignment. So this is the first model you can see. This is the first regression model you need to estimate, where you have stock returns in the left-hand side and 4 risk variables in the right-hand side. One is the global market risk, one is domestic market risk, one is interest rate risk, another is exchange rate risk or exchange rate changes. So look, the main purpose of estimating this model is that we want to explain the variation of individual stock returns in terms of these risk characteristics, okay? And then in the next model, you estimate almost a similar one. You have just one additional variable, which is GFC dummy. So we want to see that if GFC had any impact on the financial institution's stock return. Okay. And the third model is also very similar, just instead of GFC dummy, you need to add a COVID dummy once again to see if the COVID-19 pandemic had an impact on individual stock return. Okay, so these are the models you need to estimate. The data that we need to estimate the model have been explained in the earlier video already. Okay, so let me now share the Excel spreadsheet. So this Excel spreadsheet has some hypothetical data, not necessarily the data that you will be using in your assignment. So you can see that you have some individual stock price data of some companies. Okay, so these are some stock price data. These are index values. For example, S&P 500, ASX All Ordinaries. This is exchange rate data, and this is bond yield data. Okay, now using this data, you need to estimate a regression model. Now you need to remember one thing, that these are the stock prices, index values. These also represent overall stock prices. So from this stock price, you need to estimate the stock return, first of all. So there are different ways to calculate stock return. One way could be today's price minus yesterday's price divided by yesterday's price. That's one way of estimating the return. The other way of estimating the return is log of today's price minus log of yesterday's price. That's also another way of estimating the return. Okay. So you use either of these formula to calculate the returns for individual stock. You also can use the same formula for the exchanges. For the bond yield, they are already in percentage. That's why today's rate or this month's rate minus previous month's rate is enough. You don't need to divide it by the previous month's rate. Okay. So once again, for the individual stock prices and exchange rate, the formula you can use is T1 minus T0 divided by T0. Today's price minus yesterday's price divided by yesterday's price. But in your case, you have monthly data. For bond yield, just this month's yield minus previous month's yield is enough to calculate bond yield. Okay, so once you do this, you will have a data like this. Let's say I have just taken one financial institution, which is Commonwealth Bank of Australia, and I will show you how you estimate the regression model. Okay. So this is the individual stock return data, which will be your left-hand side variable. Okay. And these four are your right-hand side variable or the independent variables, okay? So as I said that what we are trying to find out that which variable, global market risk or domestic market risk, exchange rate risk, or interest rate risk, which one contributes to the individual stock return variations, okay? So to estimate this model, what you need to do is you need to, from this Excel spreadsheet, you need to go to data, and you will find a tab called data analysis here. Okay, if data analysis is not there, you need to add in this. So you need to go to, I'm showing you it again, you need to go to File, Options, Add-ins, and then Excel add-ins, go, and you need to tick this box, Analysis Toolbar. Okay, so you get this data analysis here. Okay, and once you have this data analysis, if you click this data analysis, you will get all these statistical tests that you can do in Excel. So you select regression and okay. And I have already done it for you. For Y variable, you need to select your dependent variable, which is the left-hand side variable. So Shift Control down arrow, you select the whole column, right? And then for the independent variable, you choose all these four, okay? And once again, Shift Control down arrow. So you have the Y variable, which is the left-hand side variable, and we have X variable, which is the right-hand side variables, four variables. You select labels, okay? Means that you have column title, and you select okay. And we get this regression result. Okay. And you can see these regression results. What you need to look at is you need to look at these coefficients, their signs, and t-statistic and p-value. You can see that these three p-values, they are less than 0.05, which means that these three variables are statistically significant. So they are significantly contributing to the variation of individual stock returns. Okay, you can see that global return has a negative sign, ASX index has a positive sign, and exchange rate has a negative sign. So negative sign means increase in this variable will reduce the stock return variable. Positive sign means increase in this variable will increase the return variables too. Okay, so in your results, I repeat, you need to look at the coefficients and their statistical significance. So if the p-values are less than 0.05, that means this variable is statistically significant. So this risk is significantly influencing the stock return, okay? And the relationship is either positive or negative based on the sign. You also should look at R squared. For example, in this case, it's 40%, which means that your left-hand side variable is a stock return, and 40% of the variation of this stock return is contributed by the four variables that we have included in the model. Okay, so this is how you should explain the regression result. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is you need to add a dummy variable, if you remember. So, for example, GFC dummy, okay? GFC dummy. Now, to add this GFC dummy, you need to find out the GFC period, global financial crisis period. Let's say that what I do is I put 0 in all these cells, and then I will change them to 1 that reflects the GFC period, okay? Let's say that GFC period starts in January 2007. That's just for an example, January 2007, and it continues end of up to end of 2008, for example. Okay. Okay. So you can see that this is a dummy variable. So it's an indicator variable one reflecting the time period that corresponds to GFC, otherwise zero. Okay. And then we will estimate regression model in a very similar way to see that if GFC also contributed to the variation in stock return. Okay. So if I go to data analysis again and run the regression, so our left-hand side variables remain the same. The right-hand side variable will change as we have one additional variable. Okay. Okay. And if we give OK, so you can see that we have this one additional variable. And if you look at the p-value, it is greater than 0.05. So which means that GFC didn't have any impact on the individual stock return. Okay. So in summary, this is how you create a dummy variable and estimate a regression model, and you explain the regression results. Okay. Now, if you recall that you have a set of financial institutions in your assignment, so you need to estimate this model individually for each of these companies. Okay. And then put a summary of their results in a tabular form, and you explain your results. Okay. So that's all in this video. Don't hesitate to let me know if you have any question, any concern. Thank you very much.